Tip number one is simply to warm up. A lot of people jump into pull-ups without warming up. I do roughly 3.5 minutes on an Airdyne or elliptical just to get the heart pumping and joints moving throughout my body. I followed that up with 4 to 5 minutes of easy band work. All these exercises I could easily do for 30 plus reps, but I keep it to 10. And I use a slow to medium pace to really feel my muscles work through a full range of motion while at the same time building a strong mind-muscle connection. For exercises that I can do one arm, I generally take the other arm and feel that muscle contracting just to build even a stronger mind-muscle connection. Don't do too much warm-up, but definitely do enough so that you're amply warmed up. For those who can't do their first pull-up yet, I'm going to repeat some video as I'm talking. We can attach a band to a pull-up bar and start doing pull-ups that way. The easiest style would be to attach a band, put your foot inside the band, which will allow you to hold pretty good body position as compared to using an assisted pull-up machine. And you can start doing pull-ups relatively easy with a band. Over time, as that becomes easier and easier, you can take your foot out and instead place your knee. Once those become easier, switch to an easier band. Repeat the process. You're going to start with your foot again. Once those become easy and you can do several reps, switch to your knee, so on and so forth. Okay, the next thing you can try if you can't do a full pull-up yet are called negatives. So what you're going to do, you're going to grab a stool or put something on the ground so that you can essentially jump up to the top of the pull-up position. And the best you can, you're going to attempt to hold that position at the top for a second or two, basically until you become motionless, and then you're going to very slowly come back down to a full dead hang. Then you're going to stand back up on your stool or brick or whatever it is, jump back up, repeat. Just know the first time you do this, keep your reps relatively low, I would say in the 3 to 5 range, because the next day you're going to be incredibly sore. Over time, you're going to try to increase your reps until you're in the 8 to 10 range. Once you can do that relatively comfortable, you're not getting really sore anymore. Add another set. Once you can do, I would say probably 2 sets of 8 to 10 where you can really control the descent, taking 2 to 3 seconds on the way down, you should be able to perform your first pull-up, no problem. The first most common mistake would be a lack of range of motion. Pull-ups are hard, therefore people short the range of motion to get more reps. You want to get chin over bar to count as a rep, and you also want your arms locked out at the bottom to count as a rep. Second most common mistake is using the legs and or feet to kip and force yourself over the bar easier. This is just cheating the back. You're not getting as much out of the exercise. The third mistake would be having a very loose body, meaning your legs are moving, your feet are moving. The pull-up is a full body movement. So any place that you're not tight, you're going to bleed power. So literally from your hands all the way down to your feet should be super tight. Your core is tight, your back is tight, your quads, your glutes, your calves, even your feet. You want to be locked out, else you're bleeding power and you're making the pull-up harder than it needs to be. This is called a hollow hold. So basically our shoulders are off the floor, core is engaged, and our legs are off the floor. So literally from hands to feet, everything is tight. Your legs don't have to be this far forward, but they should be relatively straight. If not locked out, they can be slightly bent, but everything from hand to feet is completely tight. Let's talk about hand width as far as doing pull-ups. You want your hands, if you want to really work your back, far enough so that when you do your pull-up and you're over the bar, your hands should be, your arms, your elbows, so wrist to elbows, should be straight up and down to the ground. If your arms are slightly in, you'll notice that my elbows are pushed out. That's working more of the biceps rather than the back. And if you bring them out even or closer together even further, now we're really working the arms versus the back. Now, as you get tired, this is more of an advanced technique, but you know, if you want to use it for yourself as well, as you get tired and your back is exhausted, you can move your hands in closer to squeeze out more reps because you're able to use your arms more versus your back. But for beginners, it's really important that your arms are straight up and down to really maximize your back growth and take attention away from the arms. This clip is showing an abbreviated version of what I like to do to squeeze out more reps. Essentially, it's active rest. If you look at a lot of my form check videos when I'm doing pull-ups, weighted pull-ups, I'll squeeze out a decent number at a reasonable clip. As I get exhausted, I do an active hang. It's just an active rest. So I might hang for about 10 seconds. When I feel I got enough energy, I'll squeeze out 1 or 2 reps, hang again, squeeze out 1 or 2 more reps, and always remember, we're always trying to stop 1 to 2 reps from failure. But this is a technique I use for pull-ups and push-ups. So in push-ups, if you can get used to doing a plank and holding that position even when you're tired, you will almost always be able to do 1, 2, 3 more reps. Over time, do the plank again, and you'll be able to do that 4, 5, 6 times and be able to squeeze out a lot more reps over time. Okay, what I'm showing here is an actual drill. So when you start doing pull-ups, when you're fresh, you're basically going to be able to pull straight up, no problem. You'll get several reps like that, and then you'll start to fatigue. So what you want to do is have a slight arch as you're immediately starting to pull up, which will activate more of the mid-back like you're doing a horizontal row. So we're going to do that initially to get the movement going, and then switch back to a vertical straight up pull. Again, this is just to assist us after we get tired. It's another way to squeeze out a couple more reps when you're exhausted. When doing a pull-up, we want to pull our shoulders down, which will keep our shoulders at a healthy position as well as activate more back muscles. So at the bottom, from a dead hang, you're going to pull your shoulders down and keep them down as you complete a pull-up. There are a couple ways we can progress pull-ups without adding extra reps and or weight with a dip belt. So the first time you get 5 successful reps, your speed is probably going to be really fast on those reps. You're just trying to get a PR. Understandable. So let's say you get to 5 reps and then you're kind of stuck. You're doing 5 reps one week, you're doing 5 reps the next. So the next thing you can do is control your tempo. You're going to slow the eccentric down with those 5 reps you're still doing. And over time, by slowing those reps down, you're really mastering your body weight, you're mastering the movement, you're becoming more efficient, and it's just a matter of time before you start nailing more reps. So really control the tempo on the way down with those same number of reps. Number 2, start adding an active rest at the end of your set. So if you don't have the ability to do an active rest where you can actually do more reps, that's fine. Just hang on to the bar for an extra 10 to 15 seconds and then step down. And after you do that for a couple sessions, maybe a couple weeks, you'll find that you are more comfortable, you're more relaxed just hanging, and you have energy again. You can start squeezing out those extra reps. Now, once you're at that point, you still don't drop off the bar. Now, at the end, you still hang for another 10 to 15 seconds. And over time, you will have the ability to keep adding more and more reps over time. Number 3, the last thing you can do is on the last repetition of each set, or even just on the very last rep of the last set, add an iso hold. So literally when you are going to do your last rep, you just go to the top, hold for 10 to 15 seconds, then do your active hang for 10 to 15 seconds, and you're done. And just doing that one extra iso hold, on the last rep of each set, or even just the last rep of the very last set, will add an incredible amount of strength over time. So with those 3 things, that's a way you can progress your technique and form over time without necessarily adding reps, but you're still improving in technique, and over time that adds. Okay, for this tip, I'm going to slow down and pause the video at the top of a pull-up. And my cue I generated for myself is at the top, I'm imagining I have a peanut under each armpit and I'm squeezing down into my lats as hard as I can to break that peanut. At the same time, I'm imagining there's a peanut on my spine between my shoulder blades, and I'm trying to break that by pulling my shoulder blades together and squeezing down on that as well. So my cue is break the peanuts under your armpits and between your shoulder blades. That'll help maximize that contraction on the entire lat from the top all the way down to the bottom in the insertion point. And the first time you do this, when you can really do it quite well, that same day and then the next day, if you were to flex your lats hard, you will cramp immensely. Like, it just activates so much more of your back muscle. Give this a shot. Let me know if it works for you, and you will probably pick up more reps just from being able to activate your muscles more in your back.